Do you know what? That's actually quite disappointing. It's one of my favourite rums in a One Rum Mai Tai. And it is tasty, but it's not kind of what I was expecting. And you know, the more I go down the Mai Tai rabbit hole, the more you kind of realise that it is all about Jamaican rums. That's quite interesting. I'll tell you what that is in a second. Oh, keep spoiler alert, keep watching. So as you can see, Sunday night, the rum show. What I'm doing now is I've gone down a sort of side little rabbit hole with the Mai Tai. What these are actually multi-country, multi-island blended rums, except for that one. I'll tell you what that is a bit later. With the caveat that they all got like a healthy dose of Jamaican rum in them. As you may be aware on my other channel, the reviews channel, I'm kind of going down the route of the One Rum Mai Tai featuring a out and out Jamaican rum kind of each video, just to see that. I want to find one rum that you can just pour without the faff, without the blend, without, you know, without kind of buying 2-3 different rums that you can do One Rum Mai Tai with. So tonight we are deconstructing, we are destructing, if you like. We are causing the abomination to the Mai Tai. I've got 8 here, 9 if you include that one. We'll keep that separate for a bit because I'll explain what that is. And just to explain what this isn't Jamaican, obviously, otherwise I'd put it in the reviews. This is actually Chairman's Reserve Legacy. And it's a lovely cocktail. Do not get me wrong. It's an absolutely lovely cocktail. It's just a bit too rich without those funk notes that I kind of want and kind of come to expect from the Mai Tai. And it's evident with tasting these. I've already had a little taste of these and I kind of know which direction this is going down. In case you can't see, look, we've done it all properly, you know, got all the blending tins there. So let's go down this and let's see what we've got. And I'll get the rums out as we go. So, first up, we'll start here. This Mai Tai was actually, I had high hopes for this, but then again, let's get the rum out so you know what we're kind of talking about. It doesn't really have the body. It doesn't really deliver in that respect. It's a phenomenal rum. I like it. It is the Boutique Rum Company. It is a blend of Jamaica and Martinique, and it is 42% ABV. It's just light. It's unaged. I think the Jamaican might be slightly aged, like very young aged in there, but it's just too light as a Mai Tai. It's got lovely funk notes to it, and you taste it and you think, wow, that's actually really nice. But then you try the next one and the next one and the next one, and you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't really cut it. So that's kind of interesting. So I would score that on the Mai Tai thing. It's delicious. So this is going to be a high bar. Actually, I was going to score them out of 10s. So I think I might need to score these out of 20s because that I would put at about an 8 out of 20. It's decent. It's not what I want. So an 8 out of 20, that's how that scores. This is a perfectly acceptable Mai Tai. It's just a bit too light. So I'm scoring this like an 11. I'm going for an 11 out of 20 for this. Really cheap to get, especially if you're in the trade in the UK. It's like, you know, it's one of Master of Malt's own brands, if you like, Atom Brand's own brands in the UK. So that is delicious. Now, the next rum we're going for in this is another one of their rums, actually, because the two signature blends are all, you know, they do really good jobs and they're very underrated rums, mixing rums, cocktail rums in the UK. This is the signature blend number 2. This is Jamaica and, what is it? It's Guyana, isn't it? Of course it is. It's Jamaica and Guyana in this one. Now, Guyana doesn't really, yeah, as you can tell, that's not Guyana, but Guyana would bring the sort of the richer vibes that you would kind of want from this. However, you do get lovely kind of Jamaican vibes off this. And that is a great step up from that. In fact, that is a very, very good Mai Tai, a one rum blend Mai Tai. Now, there's another thing I want to dive in here as well. And I think I've got a tab up here because I'm actually shooting this on the Friday before this comes out. And this is Elliot, is it Elliot? No, Ethan, sorry, Ethan. Ethan actually mentioned this And this video was kind of planned. So I was kind of going to go down a different direction. But Ethan came up with the rum like Denison's Merchant Reserve. Now, we don't get that in the UK. However, Denison Merchant Reserve was kind of blended and put together for the Mai Tai. Now, this is an interesting setting. This, I replied to him in my comment. Whenever we speak about the Mai Tai, or whenever I speak about Mai Tai, and on other videos that I watch, very rarely does Denison's Merchant Reserve pop up in comments. Now, I know it's US only in the grand scheme of things, but I'm kind of intrigued why it doesn't pop up that often. Why don't more bartenders talk about it? Why is it not used in home bars? Because I've never tasted it, I don't know. But what effectively that is Jamaican. And it's actually a Grand Arome from Martinique. Now, this is where a lot of people get confused about. People think they see Martinique on this, and they've kind of read a little bit. It was like version 3, I think, of Trader Vic's Mai Tai, when obviously the Wray & Nephew 17, ceased to become a thing. He went down different routes of blending. And he kind of came with a Martinique rum. And then what most people miss about that, it wasn't actually a Martinique agricole, it was a Martinique molasses rum from something like Le Galion. Grand Arome, essentially. A Grand Arome is Martinique's version of a molasses high ester rum. And that's what this Denison Reserve is. Now, we get a few Grand Aromes in the UK, not many. I've got a couple. I've got one that I know of coming for later in September that I can kind of try out in this. But again, it's not a Jamaican rum. I just kind of wanted to try it. And it's, when you put those sort of things together, molasses rums, Grand Aromes, high ester kind of thing, you kind of get their wavelength. I'm just intrigued why not many people talk about it. So to come back to this rum, and let me know if you've tried the Grand Arome, if you've tried the Denison's Merchant's Reserve, give me a score out of 20. I want to know a score out of 20. I don't know why 20. 10 I just sort of thought was a bit too wet. I didn't want to score that as sort of a 2 out of 20, if you know what I mean. Because I know there's better to come, or a 2 out of 10, because there is better to come here. So give me a score of a Denison's Merchant Reserve out of 20. Now let's get back to this. I'm going to give this a strong 15 out of 20. It doesn't quite have the body that I want, but it's almost there. And this is very interesting. I've tasted these once. I think I know what my favourite is out of these, but that's going to be curious coming back to this now after that. So that's the second one we've got there. Easily to get in the UK. I think they are sort of getting out around Europe. I know you can get these as well. I haven't got the prices of any of these. I'm really, really sorry. I haven't done that part. But the US, I'm led to believe certain states have imported this, but not to a massive degree. I'm led to believe. I don't know enough. Right, the next one we're going for. Now this was quite interesting actually. This is a 5-island blend, or 5-country blend. It's also a bump in ABV. It's 47% ABV. It's Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, Guatemala and Venezuela. Now, does that deliver in Jamaican? No. Is that a great Mai Tai? Yes, that's a lovely Mai Tai. I actually prefer it to this. I do. I massively prefer that to this, to be fair. It's a great Mai Tai. It's a lovely Mai Tai. It's just, because I'm guessing that a vast majority of that blend is actually column still. Let's get the rum out just so you can see. It's actually Forza. From my good friend, JBE Imports, John, and Mr. Daiquiri himself, Mr. David Cordoba. It's a great rum, but I think there's a little bit too much column still and a little bit too much lightness in there from Barbados, for example, to kind of round that off. It's a great Mai Tai. The punch in ABV works, but I'm literally, I think I am putting that one just above it. So I would score that a solid 10 out of 20. I think that one's better, even though it's a lighter rum, but I do get more Jamaican vibes off that than I do that. So that's really interesting. So that's that, and this is slightly more. These are all these rums are under £50 $60 US, €60, all that kind of thing. They're well and truly under there, although this one will be at the higher end of that. So that's the rough price. Now the next one. This one really surprised me, actually. I think I've made this before, and I had very high hopes for this. It's a 46.2% ABV. It's by Barbados, Guyana, and Jamaica. And some of you will kind of be thinking, oh, high hopes. Some of you have put the maths together in 2 + 2. To come back to this one, the Chairman's Reserve, the Legacy. Do I prefer that to that? Yes, I think I do. But actually, it doesn't, for me, compete with that in a Mai Tai. It doesn't even come close to that in a Mai Tai. So 11, I've got to keep repeating this score, so I kind of, so I remember it. So 11, 15, 10. I'm going to score that. Oh, this is a tough one. I prefer it more to that. I'm going to put it on par with that, 11. I'm going to give it 11. Now, the reason why it surprised me is it was black top. Again, I just think maybe it's the Barbados. Maybe there's, you know, I forget the actual DNA of it. It does tell you on the website. But there's not enough Jamaican in that to kind of really come through. Delicious. Happily drink it. But already, I've tasted better ONE RUM Mai Tais through filming the Jamaican stuff. So that's the black tot in there. Now, next one. This one was a very late player, and I'd forgotten all about this. And it was only because it was sitting right there when I was getting this out. I was like, oh, hello, hang on. That's a Jamaican blended rum. Now, that is actually really tasty. I prefer that to that. I don't prefer it to that. So that's my benchmark so far at 15. But you know what? And it's only a 40% ABV as well. But it has got that tiny amount of pungency, although I think the lads that import it might sort of disagree. They might kind of tell you it's got a lot of pungency. I don't think that pungency really comes through. I was actually chatting to them yesterday, and they were kind of saying, they were telling me, oh, you should be, because they won't disclose what the actual distillery is. I know what a distillery is now from Jamaica, but I'm not going to disclose that because it's a highly guarded secret. It happens a lot with blended rums, especially like when the likes of V&A Share and certain other blenders get involved. They don't disclose the distilleries. They're not allowed to. So we can't say. People, you know, you can go away and research. I'm sure someone said it online. I'm not going to be the one to let the cat out of the bag. I don't think that delivers enough Jamaican for me. There's a little bit of Jamaican in there. It's a lovely Jamaican. It's Jamaican and Trinidad. Let's get it out to play. It's actually the Compañero. And I get a little bit of chocolate notes in there. It is 40% ABV. I'm sure it is. 40? I'm sure it's a 40. Yeah, it's a 40% ABV one. But, do you know what? I'm going to give that a 14 out of 20. It's a different cocktail to the Boutique Rum Company, number 2. But it's very enjoyable. Out of all of them so far, that's a slightly more mellower, slightly more easygoing Mai Tai that you could easily session upon, whereas this one's got a little bit of kind of decent Jamaican funk to it. And I still prefer that as a Mai Tai, but that is a cocktail, for instance, that you can happily sip on. I'm a big fan of that, actually. That surprised me. Very late entry. So that's that done. The next one. Now, the next one. This was, again, another interesting one for me, because I don't think I've done it as a ONE RUM Mai Tai. It's a rum that I feature a hell of a lot. It's a delicious cocktail. It delivers more in robustness. It's well more balanced than the Chairman's Reserve Legacy. It is dialed back dialed back because of the ABV. So I've dialed back the booze. It's a 69%. Let's get it out. You kind of know. It's the Plantation OFTD. Now, I think there is potentially too much Guyana and too much Barbados in it to give you exactly what you want. But it's, you can, with that as a one rum Mai Tai, you get what it brings to the blend that I used in the original video, Tuesday's video, Wednesday's video, whenever it came out. I used 15 ml of that with 45 ml of Zymaca. What that brings is absolutely delicious. It really is. In a different way to the Compañero. I've got to score that a 14 out of 20 again, because it's really, really tasty. But it's still, there's just something about this Mai Tai with that Jamaican funk, Jamaican pungency that just works. I can't explain it. I'm not a flavour scientist. You know, someone who can, you know, might be able to debunk why orange, why almond, why lime, you know, brown demerara sugar, why those notes work exceptionally well with that pungency of a Jamaican rum. I don't understand, but you can quite clearly tell that so far is a class apart from the rest of them. But that's delicious. So 2 14s there, side by side. Really big fan of that. Now, next one. This one, I rocked it out. I've got the blend here. It's decent. It's lovely. It's too much almond comes through. There's not enough oomph in it. It's a 40% rum. 40.2% rum, and it is Mercer. Now, the thing that's kind of got me here, I got a funny feeling a lot of these are not available in the US. All right, that will be. That probably will be at some level, and that will be. But these definitely aren't. This just lacks everything you want. It's decent. It's a great cocktail. You know, if you're a mid-tier bar in the UK and you rock that out, it's a cracking Mai Tai. If that's on your menu, it's a cracking Mai Tai. It really is. And you're going to sell it. But for us Mai Tai lovers and cocktail enthusiasts, it doesn't cut it there. So I'm going to give that, it's a tough call because I know it's going to sell. You put that on mass market as a Mai Tai, that's going to sell. It's a great bar. So if you put that in your kind of your chain bars as a Mai Tai, that is a fantastic rum at a decent price that's really going to have mass crowd, you know, mass appeal. But for Mai Tai traditionalists, it doesn't cut it. So for me, I've got to score that as an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 20. Because it's just nowhere near that, and it's nowhere, to be fair, it's nowhere near those. So even that as an 8, it might be like a 6 or a 7, but I just think that's a bit harsh because I know full well certain chain bars in the UK that had that as a one rum Mai Tai, it's going to sell. I totally get it. Now, there are other, before I do dive into this one, because this is bonkers, this one down here, and this one, I'm not forgetting this one. Before I dive in, there's some glaring omissions. The Four Islands, I adore that as a rum, as a neat sipper. I've had that as a one rum Mai Tai. And again, I would class it in that sort of vein. It is, I forget the blend of it, it's Dominican Republic, Barbados, Jamaica. What's the fourth one? I'm sure it's like a Martinique or a Guadeloupe or something. Guadeloupe, there we go. So Jamaica, Barbados, Dom Rep and Guadeloupe. It just doesn't have that oomph from the Jamaica that you want. I know that is really good, right? The next one, the Lovers. Again, cracking sort of Mai Tai, cracking Daiquiri rum. It's just too light. 5 rum blend in here again. Barbados, Dom Rep, Guatemala, Nicaragua and Panama. It's quite light. It's a lot of column still rum going on in there. It doesn't have that pungency that you want. The next one in there. Actually, let's get the other, the Yabba Dabba Doo from 4. Again, another UK blend. This is all the sort of Spanish origins, isn't it? Panama, El Salvador, Belize, Dom Rep and Venezuela. Again, doesn't quite have that oomph. So, you know, these are all for me 7s and 8s. They're all around that mark. And again, with the Equiano, Barbados, it's a lovely rum. It's a cracking rum. Equiano and Grays from Mauritius. Foursquare and Grays from, it is Foursquare, isn't it? Barbados, yeah, Foursquare, of course it is. Foursquare and Grays from Mauritius. Again, it just doesn't have that. It's a lovely cocktail. You put it, if you're a bar, if you put it on a menu as a one rum Mai Tai, it's going to sell. But for a cocktail for Mai Tai enthusiasts, it's not quite there. So I think we've covered the kind of blended rums. There is one. I'm actually going to rock this out in the Jamaican series because the Jamaican vibe off this is insane, and I can't wait. This is actually in the next filming session. I can't wait to get onto that. But what this one is here, this one, I don't know how to kind of make my mind up with this. I really like it. I'm torn. I don't know whether I should class it as an authentic Mai Tai. I'm really, really torn. And this is not, I promise you, when you see these two rums that I'm talking about, you'll think, you'll have seen them featured recently. You think there might be a little bit of biasness towards it. I genuinely, if you watched that video that I did, you saw my eyes light up at this, and it's just the different layers of complexity in here. I think this one rum is going to have a lot of fans. This is global. My head is spun. As a Mai Tai, I've got to score that a 16. I love that, but that is just quirky. That just brings something else to the table. I've got to score it a 16 out of 20. But people are going to go, "Rrr." What this is this rum's cow. Hang on, I've got the close up. I wasn't going to edit too much in, but if I can do that, there we go. This is the Colon. I can't do the roll my R's like Max could, but it's 33% mezcal, 66% of their rum. Now their base rum is El Salvador with a healthy dose of Jamaican rum. You get those Jamaican rum vibes in abundance coming through there. You really do. The thing I love about this is that 33% of it is that mezcal. And that just mezcal just kind of brings you something really quirky in there. 99 proof, so 49.5 ABV. There's a little bit of smoke in there. Honestly, I'm so intrigued by this rum. I'm so intrigued. I think they have got the other one, the 50% rye. And that, I'm not going rye. I'm not a whiskey fan. It's a lovely rum, but that just kind of really piqued my interest. That did. So just on taste alone, on something that I want the Mai Tai to do, that's actually my favourite. I'm really inquisitive about this. Really inquisitive about what we could do with cocktails with that, just to bring that little extra vibe of mezcal. They say, look, you know, if you've got a bottle of mezcal at home with a rum, you can kind of play about. I don't. I'm just purely rum here. I've got maybe a rubbish old bottle of Jack Daniel's rye whiskey up there, a few bottles of gin for cocktail master classes. I don't really have other spirits apart from liqueurs. So that for me is kind of very, very interesting. Very interesting. Now, let's talk about this one down here. I wanted to try it. This might go down another different rabbit hole once we get a few more rums. But this is a British scratch rum. Now, this is Dropworks Funk Drop. Now, it delivers in funk, in pungency. It doesn't deliver in ripe banana, tropical fruit sort of thing. It's a very different kind of funky rum. I have to say, this is really conflicting me now, because I want to try and stay neutral. I don't want to go, oh, it's my favourite. I want to try and stay neutral, but it's got that, it's a light rum. Obviously, it's unaged. It hasn't got any of the body, you know, that you kind of want to get there of aged Jamaican rum. And what I know is coming up in the series of Jamaican rum. But Jesus Christ, that's really good. I really want to sit on the fence with this and kind of just wait for other people, because they've started to sell this out now. It's starting to get out there a little bit more. in the UK market. I really want other people and to get other people's opinions on this, just to sort of see whether it is my biasness or not. I flipping love it. That for me, they're different. They're just different cocktails. They are, because you instantly get the Jamaican off that. But I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that. Do you know what? I think I'm going to revise my score for this, because I generally don't know where to go, what direction to go in here to be neutral in there, because I flipping love it. It has got the Jamaican vibes, but the mezcal is a thing in a Mai Tai, but that is a delicious kind of riff. Has anyone used mezcal in a Mai Tai? I don't know. Kevin Crossman, I know you won't be watching this, but you know, I might hit Kevin up just to ask. It's a very different kind of thing, but it's flipping delicious. Have I just stumbled on something and no one's looked at it? I doubt it. Someone must have somewhere. But this, honestly, I like this. It's light. You know, the best way I can describe this, you know my love of daiquiris, like the archetypal type of daiquiris. Light, clean, crisp, bright, you know. That for me is that kind of vibe with a Mai Tai. It's 63% ABV. It brings funk in abundance. It just doesn't bring the Jamaican tropical aged fruitiness that you kind of get off this. And I can't split them. I'm waffling now. I really can't. For authentic Mai Tai, that has to be the winner out of the blended multi-country island Jamaicans. For authentic. But for new age, for new world, for new times Mai Tai, that rumscal and this funk drop, yeah. That's of no use to you, but I genuinely want to be honest. I genuinely want to sit on the fence. I genuinely kind of just want to say it how it is. You know, I'm looking forward to going down more Jamaican rums. I appreciate, I filmed the Zymaca, I filmed the Compagnie des Indies that will come out on Monday. I've got the next batch to do. That's delicious. Yeah. I'm going to score that a 15. I'm going to score that a 15. And I'm going to score that a 15. In my head, I want to score that a 16, 17. I want to score that a 16, 17. Let's go with this way. If you're an authentic Mai Tai person, kind of avoid that and avoid the rest of them. The rest, you know, I'm surprised by the Compañero, to be fair. The Compañero is actually quite delicious. Right, so this week's, it's cold. This week's Daiquiri of the week comes from me. Now, I want to thank, there's been loads of suggestions coming in, and I will get to them. I promise you I will. So thank you very much for that. There's be a link in the comment below where you can submit your daiquiris of the week. But the vast majority I've got to go out and buy stuff for. You know, just to mention the three off the top of my head that I can think of. I need to restock Veritas. And that is a rum that I kind of want to go down that rabbit hole again because I didn't appreciate it first time around. So I want to revisit Veritas or Probitas. What was the other one? Daiquiri bitters. I need to get daiquiri bitters. Again, it's one of those bitters that I've kind of looked at for ages and ages and never just got round to it. So I wanted to get daiquiri bitters. What was the other one? Cream of coconut, which is a very different, coconut cream, which is a very different thing to cream of coconut. I've got plenty of cream of coconut, whether it's Real, whether it's Monin, whether it's ODK. And that's essentially what it is. Cream of coconut, for those of you who didn't know, is a very different thing to coconut cream. So I need to go out and get a tin of coconut cream. Basically, coconut and sugar for cream of coconut. Coconut cream is more coconut fatty stuff from the actual coconut I think. Go and Google it. Anyway, let's go down this. So this is me, because I know full well that I'm going to get the questions down. Now that I've featured the Colon. Why can't I roll my R's? Cornish chav, innit? Cornish chav coming out. The Colon red banana. And I adore the Cargo Cult banana. So I know full well there's going to be questions. Steve, which one's the best? I know it's coming. I know it's coming. So the only way we can really do it, isn't it? Isn't it a daiquiri off? So we've got that. So that's the red banana. I think these are going to be very different daiquiris, but both taste great. I don't know how these are going to kind of split, to be honest. Because red bananas is a very different, I've never heard of red bananas before. It's a very different thing to normal bananas. As far as I'm aware, you know, as far as if I'm to take them all at face value, both of these are actually seen real life bananas, which is something we don't get with any other brand except Discarded. And I need to get, there's something happening with me and Discarded. So I'll reveal all in a few weeks' time. But I kind of need to sort of visit Discarded. Discarded it's Caribbean imported rum, which is, you know, imported rum, infused with the skins of discarded bananas. You could argue what's the difference, you know, between these. So, yeah. Right, let's go for Cargo Cult. I've had this as a daiquiri many times. I love this. Cracking banana daiquiri. It's light. It's the banana-y vibe to it. 521, that's what I've done for this. 521.5, sorry. 50 ml. I've gone back to 50 mils instead of 60 mils. Hence, you can sort of see a little line there. So 50 ml, 20 ml of lime, 15 ml of sugar. Delicious. Oh, banana. Subtle. It's not massively punchy in your face as a daiquiri, but it's there. It does what you want it to. It's a lovely banana daiquiri. Lovely. Works as a banana Mai Tai. Phenomenal. Right. The Ron, let's clear my palate. Clear my palate with tropical squash. That's a bit of a taxi, wasn't it? Right. Taxi, did we say that? That was a thing from Soccer AM, like back in the sort of 90s, 2000. Taxi! Right. I just realised that's massively lost on the European and the US audience, isn't it? Taxi! If you know, here's one for you. If you're still watching, comment below. Where does taxi? Where does that come from? Comment below. That'll be intriguing. Right. As a daiquiri, I prefer that. Wow. That's, I would say, right, and here's my honest assessment of this. I would say that's a little bit sweeter as a rum. Again, 50 ml, 20 ml of lime juice, 15 ml of sugar. That's a little bit sweeter as a rum than what probably the Cargo Cult is. And I dare say if I added 2-3 more ml of sugar to that, in fact, do you know what? Just for giggles, because we're all about that. Where's my bar spoon gone? Bar spoon's in the washer. Right. There we go. Right. See, this is the thing. You know, not all spirits, not all rums have the same level of sweetness, have the same level of banana flavouring, have the same level, you know, whatever's going on. Yeah. Now you can't split them. What was that? That was like half a proper bar spoon, like 2.5 ml. The banana is now oomph. Sugar, if you hadn't realised, if you're watching this still and you don't realise what sugar does, sugar basically makes things taste better. It oomphs, what's the word? emphasizes, that's not the word I'm looking for. It enhances, there we go. Keyboard people on the keyboards going, yeah, enhances, it enhances certain flavors. Now, so you can take what you want from this. Now I can't split them. They are both phenomenal banana daiquiris. Different. It's a different vibe. That's kind of like, this one's like I've just chomped into a proper ripe banana that you've probably got from your fruit and veg stores. This one's, it's got like a fruitier kick to it. It's banana, but with like a fruitier, I would love to taste the red banana. I really want to taste the red banana to see what the difference is. But both of those, oomph in banana, but you've seen what I've done. To make it a level playing field, if they were both 50 ml of rum, 20 ml of lime, 15 ml of sugar, I preferred that. Because obviously, after adding 2 or 3 ml of sugar to that, it is now at the same level. So obviously we can naturally assume that that's just slightly sweeter than what that is as a rum. But now that I've umped that with sugar, that's delicious. That's delicious. How can I sum that up? They both taste like banana. I would say, and this is going to come out completely wrong because you know me and my words, I would say if you want that authentic taste of what you know as a banana, yellow, ripe, tasty, that kind of shades it. That is like authentic banana. But I've never flipping had a red banana, let alone heard of them before. So that might actually taste like a proper, fresh, ripe red banana. It tastes like banana to me. But that's just that tastes how I expect a banana to taste. Having no idea of what a red banana is. That is still, I mean, both of them. On the daiquiri steaks, on the fun daiquiri steaks, I can't compare this to like a Cuban or a light column still rum. I can't compare them to that. As a fun, fruity daiquiri, both of these are like 9s out of 10s because I flipping adore both of them. I would say that's probably a 9.3 and that's maybe a 9.2.5 just on that, purely because I've never had a red banana before, so I don't know. I'm just gauging it on my palate of what I chomp into a banana and what it tastes like. And that one is authentic yellow banana. But if you've ever had a red banana, let me know because this is really goddamn delicious. Right, just to finish this week's rum show, I'm going to talk about the brand that I think would probably have dropped Friday. This was filmed like a week and a half ago now. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank Max again for coming off. Now, coming on. My words. I am not going to prattle on too much about these rums. I'm going to, this one, I think that's the one, that's coming up in its own video. I know that's going to feature, I've just done that in the daiquiri, I know that. This was a genuine, this kind of needs explaining a little bit more because I think I said it in that show. So, you've kind of seen these rums, Max talking about them, you kind of get them, so I don't need to go over them again. But this is the high proof coffee rum on there. When I bought this, because that is my bottle, because that is the bottle that Max sent me, and for the life of me, I can't find my bottle of that. There wasn't much left. There's only a bit left. I don't know where it is. I generally don't know where it is. I went into this. I filmed this whole video, and it was going on the Spiced Rum channel. This is why I didn't release it. This is what I didn't explain in that video. It was going on the Spiced Rum channel, Steve Barman Extra, or I think I've renamed it Cocktails or something. And I went into it doing, you know, blind, and I was kind of like, right, this is going to be like a coffee rum. I'm going to maybe like compare this to a Luna coffee or, you know, something like that. And, you know, I was talking about it and kind of there, and then I cracked it and tasted it, and I was like, this ain't what I was expecting. And the way the video panned out, I just never released it because it just made absolutely no sense. And I knew that Max coming on might have been in the pipeline in sort of 8 to 10 weeks from that. So that happened roughly about the time of Manchester Rum Fest, which was June. So I knew roughly, so I never bothered reshoot it because I wanted him to explain it properly because I didn't understand. I was like, but why would you release a coffee rum that's actually not that emphasized in coffee? Now I completely get it because the coffee flavor is there. It's basically a different vibe to what it is. But, you know, I didn't realize at the time, I think it's that one, isn't it? Yeah. I didn't realize at the time that Colon, I can't roll my R's and all that malarkey. Colon Salvadorano had the 2 underproofs as well. I didn't realize that was in their locker. Now, how I'm going to kind of just briefly talk about this is that and I think Max kind of hinted at the same in there, and I'm not putting words in Max's mouth, so forgive me, Ron Colon, the whole gang, forgive me. But I'm going to be brutally honest with you lot here for a second. just play about with those 2. The higher ABV ones. These are great. They are really tasty rums, and I get them. I get they're cheaper. I get a lot of people are going to think, well, you know, that one's 35, 40 pounds. These, you know, these 2 are, I don't know, less than 30. We're going to buy those ones. But I promise you, the higher ABV just cuts the sweetness away, if you like. And they're you know, I don't know whether, I wouldn't say they're heavily dosed or anything like that, but there is just that because the alcohol kick is not in these 2, these are just generic 40%ers, aren't they? 81, so 40.5. You know, they massively benefit from that kick of ABV. In cocktails, in neat sipping, you know, they just benefit. So if I'm being brutally honest, yes, these 2 rums fulfill a need. I get that. I totally get that. But if I could guide you and sway you anyway, just don't bother. Just literally, right, how can I put this? If you're coming direct from Spice Rum Land, Bumbu, Don Papa, Kraken, then those 2 are up your street. Don't even go close to those because you will not, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, you won't be able to handle them. They won't, the flavour, it's not ABV, it's not alcohol, it's just taste. You won't get it because there isn't the sweetness, there's too much alcohol in those for you to get it as maybe neat or like as a mixer. So that's what those 2 play in, okay? For rum drinkers, that's where your head is. That's where your market is. So hopefully you kind of understand where I'm going. I'm just trying to guide you. Now, let's make one thing abundantly clear here. And I think Max made it clear in the video as well. This is a brand created by bartenders, effectively, for bartenders. This is not a brand for the 5% that want to sip stuff neat. This is a brand, and you saw my eyes light up when I was tasting these, because this is where my headspace is. I'm drinks, I'm cocktails, I'm highballs. And when I was tasting these, I was like, oh, you could do this with that, you could do that with that, you could do... That's what this market is. This market is for the cocktail bartender, for the home enthusiast that likes to make highballs and mixed drinks. There are so many quirky riffs that you could do with this. And for me, right, and I know what I want to say, but I might labour the point of trying to get there. For me, at this precise moment, this is, hopefully they're the right way at the front, because the labels are all a bit funny. There we go. For me, this is the most exciting brand that I have come across yet in rum world. For me, for cocktails, for that vibe, because Jesus Christ, they are quirky, they are fun, they are decent in taste, they are, you know, they are phenomenal. And I haven't filmed it yet. I generally can't wait for the video where I kind of film that in its own right as a Jamaican rum, ONE RUM Mai Tai. I can't wait to see how it does. If it disappoints me, and I might actually get that out at the same time in the same video, I might do that at the end of the video. Because it's just, you know, they're not trying to be geek level. They're not trying to market themselves to the 5%, even though when it came to my live stream, the 5% were confused. The 5% were like, oh, that's really tight. You know, the higher ABV. It's not difficult to confuse the 5%. Give them a higher ABV rum. And there's a, you know, actually, I need calm down. I need to rephrase that. There's the 5% that know what they're talking about, and then there's the pretender 5% that think they know what they're talking about. And it's not hard to confuse them, because they will just be living off the coattails of, you know, certain brands that kind of keep on spouting the same old marketing stuff. And they just won't have they won't have formed their own opinions. That's what I'm trying to get at. They won't have formed their own opinions. So when they do a blind tasting where they have to form their own opinions, you know, that's when stuff gets interesting and fun for me. Because, you know, when people are just tasting stuff when they know what's in front of them, you know, it's yeah, oh yeah, you know, it's Foursquare, it's Appleton, it's X, it's Y, it's Z, it's, you know, it's just, you know, you're gonna bang your head against the brick wall just trying to convert them and open their eyes. But when you get people in a blind tasting and just you kind of say, taste this, do you like it? Is it good? You don't need to get into the whole complexity of like how it's distilled. Do you like it? And the thing is, when you blind taste these, you're flipping gonna like them. Your eyes are gonna light up, especially if you're in my world that's all about cocktails and drinks. Because I really now, not that one, I'll talk about that in a sec. I really now want to get my head in, look at the tiki cocktails that do go with bourbon and rum, or rye and rum. Because I'm really intrigued by that. That really got me, because I do get the rye notes off that, but I'm not a whiskey drinker, and I'm like, oh, how does that work in cocktails? How can we create some magic riffs on this? Because that's what these two do. You've got the mezcal one there, and you've got the rye there. That's what they do. And if you are the person that buys one rum to make cocktails, if you're not like me, where you've got a whole plethora, there's a posh word for you, a whole plethora of different rums to choose from to make cocktails, and this is a business, this is what I do, you know, my whole thing, my whole business is debunking and looking at stuff to kind of guide you. You know, if you're not in that mindset, if you're like, I want one rum to kind of do this, then this brand is flipping brilliant. It's my love for Plantation. I absolutely adore Plantation. I do. I love what they're about, because it's open and honesty. It's, you know, it's just creating good rums for the mass market. It's not creating epic rums for the 5%, although they do have them with their extremes, their Plantation extremes. They do have that kind of 5% vibe, but they're just all about creating decent, great rums, A, for the mass sipping market, and B, for the cocktail market. You know, that's why I like Plantation. There's no airs and graces about them. It's just what they do. But fun-wise, you can tell, you know, it's just like, I generally have to sit here and stand here and kind of think, right, what cocktails are going to benefit from like a little mezcal twist? What cocktail is going to benefit from a little rye twist? And I dare say they've probably not even finished there. You know, you've got that higher Jamaican ABV with a little coffee twist. You know, you've got 3 twists there, plus a banana twist as well. All right, it's a little bit sweeter. You know, that's kind of like Plantation, to kind of guide you. Plantation have got Cane Rock in their thing. All right, it's a different brand. You know, it's Cane Rock in its own right, but it's still Plantation. It's Maison Ferrand. You know, Plantation have got their Cane Rock for the sweeter tooth. You know, Ron Colon, you know, they've got that for the sweeter tooth. They've kind of got that. I'm just inquisitive. I'm just excited, and I'm just like, I want to play with that. I want to play with that. What can I do? What cocktails can I riff off? I've got Jungle Birds in my head. I've got Negronis in my head. I've got Manhattans in my head. I've got all shades of different tiki cocktails that call for like a 2-3 rum blend, where actually maybe like a rum and a mezcal might work. You know, my head just explodes. So I'm excited for these. I'm excited to get used to these. I'm not saying they are the world's best rums, but for what we do and how we make money, bartender, bar, we, the royal we, this is one hell of a brand that you could have a lot of fun with. A hell of a lot of fun with. We know the Negroni works as so the Negroni turns, if you use whiskey, rye, or bourbon, it turns into a Boulevardier. We know that rum works in a Negroni as well. I'm not sure actually if we've got a term for the Negroni with rum. Rum Negroni, I just call it. I'm not sure there's actually a technical name for it. But a Boulevardier is a bourbon version or an American whiskey version of the Negroni. You just swap the gin for it. But you know, I've got the mezcal one. You know, it's that one. There we go. You know, a one rum kind of rum, bourbon. We know that rum works. We know that bourbon, you know, it's just, this is why I'm excited about this brand. It just opens up so many avenues, and I know how bars work. Bars tend to like to work with one brand where possible. Yes, they might have Havana, they might have Chairman's as their upsell, they might have, I don't know, whatever. Many bars, in the grand scheme of things, general bars don't have like 20 different rums. They just don't. So to have one brand that you could work with and build a relationship with, that you can riff off different cocktails, Jungle Bird with the coffee. You know, my head, I think it probably said that in there, but my head's just kind of thought that. Oh, Campari coffee, you know. So there's a lot of fun to be had with this brand. The rum itself, that one, I'm calling that, because that's their OG, I'm calling that their base rum, is fantastic. Don't take my word for that. Watch the live stream. You know, watch that live stream where everyone was just like, oh, that's so good, that's good, that's good, that's good. £35, UK. You know, even the rum, the 5% squad in that live tasting was just like, that's good, I like that. That speaks for itself.